Good morning, everybody. It is Christmas, so happy holidays to all those people out there and whatever holiday season that you're observing Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever. It's Happy Atheism Day, whatever it is. Today, we're going to be taking a look at mastering Lightburn and how to cut the multi-layer diorama that we made in the last video, which is this right up here that we ended up doing in Lightburn, and show you the final results. Now, granted, my results are going to be a little bit different because my engraver has such a small engraving area. It's 80 millimeters by 80 millimeters, so it's like 3.14 inches by 3.14. Yeah, it's kind of small. So anyway, I did that video. I had some good reviews on it. Some people sent me messages saying, hey, that's great. I wanted to learn how to do this. You kind of broke it down Barney Basic style. So I appreciate the return on that, the feedback, which is good. But then I also had some questions on how do we set this up to cut? And I didn't really go over that, so we'll do that in this video, and then we'll also go over and I'll show you the final results. So let's drop into Lightburn, and there is kind of what we ended up doing. We had multiple layers, as we can see here. So when we grab things, let's go ahead and we'll take that out of group, and what we can end up doing is we can see that there are multiple layers to this. So each one of these is its own different layer, and if we go through, we could check all that out. With that, what we ended up doing is going through and creating a circle, and then we did the offset, and we did it all in line mode, and then we combined those two shapes by using the Boolean function that we can have off on this left-hand side, actually down here. But I like to use Control B, which brings up the Boolean assistant, so that way you can kind of hover your mouse over that function and it'll give you a preview before you click. Here you're just kind of playing a guessing game, and I'm not that advanced to know what's what, so I like the Boolean assistant. With that, since I colored all these out, for example, we'll come down here and each of these has its own color. The only reason I did this was to show the different layers and to give some definition and depth on what we were talking about. Because basically, if I just show you this, it doesn't really make sense to say, well, this is a layer, this is a layer, this is a layer. With the colors, it's way more, it makes more sense. So with that, that's not how I'm going to be cutting this out. So for example, what I ended up doing is just taking, this is the backing, and of course, this is the mountain, and these have all been changed to the red cut layer. And so when I make this, I could make it blue, but then over here on the right-hand side, it'll have the settings for whatever blue is. Now you can change these settings here. You can also double click and change the settings and so on and so forth. But since I want this to be cut out, I changed this to red, and that's kind of like I guess an industry thing that red is going to be your cut line. And so with that, when we go to red and we see here that my speed is 80, power is at 100, and it will cut this out. You could also double click and you could check out the settings there, so on and so forth, but that's what we end up doing. So generally, for the majority of these, what I'll end up doing is just dragging this into my cutting engraving area. And so, for example, if I do this, we go to preview, and it'll give you a time of how long it'll take for this, which is 3 minutes and 1 second. And so basically what it'll go and do is cut that shape out, and then it's done. And so then what I'll end up doing is going from that shape, and then I'll grab this one here and I'll put that in there. I'll do the quick little rundown in the preview to make sure that everything is looking good. And then I'll frame it, and then I'll start it over here and run it and cut that out. And so I'll do that with all these different layers set to that red cutout. So for example, if I was going to cut this one out, as we see here, it's set to like this aquamarine turquoise color thing, and it's set to fill. But if it's set to line, that's kind of what we got. But if we go to red and we set that as red, now it takes on the attributes of this red layer, this cut layer that we have, which is my speed and power for cutting that material. So that's what you end up doing. So basically what I could end up doing is just taking all of these and making them a red layer, and except for that, we wouldn't want that to be cut out in red. But for all of these to be cut out in red, and what I ended up doing with this was actually make it blue, and I actually engraved that on onto this. So that's a good example. Let's go ahead and we'll put this back, and I'll show you what I ended up doing. We'll drag this into, oh, there it is down there. So let's go ahead and we'll drag this one. We'll bring this into our work area. I'll make this bigger. And so basically this is what we're going to end up doing. So when we go to our preview, we need to make sure that our engraving layer, our engraving is done first. So that layer has to be before our cut layer. The cut layer is always going to be last. So when we do our, need to move this over just a tad. No, I don't want it like that. I want it back the way it was, and we'll just move the whole thing over. Yeah, that's what we want. So when we go to preview, this is what we end up seeing, and if we go back, what it'll end up doing is the engraving first, and then it'll go through and it'll start doing the cut sequence. And the reason that you want to do that is your cut sequence is always last, because when you cut things, depending on your laser and the bed that you have, if you have those slots, things can fall through. There can be a shift in the material. Maybe it's not held down with magnets. I don't have magnets on mine. So you always want to make sure that you do your engraving first, and then you do your cut layers. So that ended up being about 13 minutes. So that's how you end up doing this. I guess I didn't make it clear, and somebody was asking, well, if I do this, what's going to happen? And it doesn't cut out. Well, yeah, because your red is not being set as your actual cutting out. So I hope that clears things up. I just use the colors to show the differentiation between each of the layers so that you could actually see it, kind of like what we've got in the picture down below. So with that, let's see what else. Yeah, it worked out pretty good. And so what we'll end up doing is we'll actually take a look here and see our results. So that is the result right up here. Is the result that we ended up having. And so here it is. And yeah, it turned out, just a little, put a couple magnets on the back, painted it around, and yeah, we're able to get kind of a cool little thing there. Could have leveled it out a little bit more, but you get the idea of you can do these multi-layered dioramas on your laser engraver, and you can engrave, you can cut, you can paint. I just used some little paints that I had, and I think it turned out pretty well. So yeah, another addition to the refrigerator. All my little engravings and things like that, I throw some magnets on the back and I throw them on the fridge, and this is about as big as I can get with the engraver that I have. But turns out pretty good. Excuse me. Let me get a little drink here. So anyway, but yeah, it turned out pretty good. So you can do some pretty cool stuff. And this, you're not limited to just doing, nature scenes. Since it's Christmas, kind of a little late to do Christmas ornaments, but you could do a multi-layered Christmas ornament, excuse me, using the same process in, setting up your material, setting up your design, which is really important, how we talked about, basically breaking this down into fourths. And so you can layer your items and see them all without overstepping and getting in the way, which is something that I had problems with. Do you all see some glitching on my screen? Because on my recording, my Ecamm Live is like glitching every once in a while, and I'm not sure why. So it'll be interesting to see when we post this. So anyway, that's what I wanted to end up doing, is kind of show you the final result of what we got there. The multi-layered Lightburn mastering, how to make and cut, and the final results, which turned out pretty well. So hopefully this answers the question that, hey, well, I did this and I made some stuff and I've got all the different layers with the different colors and it didn't cut out, it just engraved. It's like, well, you have to set the settings, put everything into a cut layer except for the stuff that you want engraved. So in this case, it would be, the blue and the words Rocky Mountain. Those things would be set to your engraving settings, and then everything else should be a cut setting. And of course, I just did the different colors just to show you the process and how I make that multi-layered little piece here. But when I actually go through is setting everything to red with the cut settings like we have there. And my cut settings will be different than yours because I have a different machine, have different materials. So all of those variables come into play and you'll have to do your own testing and look those things up. But once you get those settings down, then you can make this, save it as a file. So that was another question I had, is people ended up saying, well, I have all this and now I want to save the work that I did because maybe I'll change a layer and, I'll put a moose instead of a wolf, or I'll put a bear instead of a moose, something like that. I want to change it up and give it as gifts. You can actually save all of this. So in Lightburn, you can go up to the top and you can go to File, and then you can go to Save As. And what you can end up doing is saving all of this work that you ended up doing and title it whatever you want, and then save it on the cloud, save it on your hard drive, whatever it is, and it'll save it as a Lightburn project. If it already has a name, then I'm just going to go up here and click Save, and it'll save it. And then if I start a new project, I can go up to File and then Open, and that'll bring up here. And now we got to find it. It's somewhere here. There it is. Wolf Cabin Multi-Layered Lightburn 2. And boom, it brings up that project right there. So there it is. The little multi-layered thing that we end up doing and how you can cut it out. Also the results that we got, which ended up being pretty good. Again, a little refrigerator magnet until I get my big laser, which is interesting. That's something else that I'm looking into, and I've kind of narrowed it down to, if you've seen my other videos, to one laser with their XRF system, metal tube laser, which has a life of 20,000 to 50,000 hours. They're thinking about 38 or 40,000 hours on that. That'll be decades. that'll more than last the time that I need. Compared to a glass tube, which will last, from what I found doing research, anywhere from 2,000 to 4,500 hours. The thing is, with the glass tubes, they're not as expensive to replace, and so they're cheaper. The difference between the XRF and the one laser versus metal tube and the glass tube, it's about $1,000 difference. But the trade-off that you're getting, in my opinion, the RF metal tube laser, you're getting a more precise laser dot, and so you can do more intricate designs when you're engraving. And a 38 watt RF tube laser is comparable to around a 60 or 65 watt CO2 laser. The other cool thing about RF lasers is that you can run them at higher percentages and higher power settings than you could a CO2, which you max out a CO2, it's not really going to be good for that laser tube. So there's kind of some trade-offs there. CO2 lasers are great, and if you're doing a lot of cutting, then the CO2 laser would be the way to go. If you're kind of drawn between the two, one laser has a system called Hydra that has the RF metal tube and a CO2 glass tube. It's all in one, which would be incredible. It's going to cost you some money, but what you end up getting, matter of fact, what does that come out to? I drool over it, but I'm not sure. I haven't really checked the price. Let's check up one laser. And let's go ahead and we'll pull this in. I'll take a look at their website real quick. Yeah, I'm kind of bored on Christmas Day. So here's the one laser. We have their X series, but the Hydra, that would be awesome. The Fury of the Hydra. Dual laser system with an 80 to 150 watt glass tube and a 38 to 75 watt RF metal tube. And that's $5,000, which, wow, you know. And whereas this one, if we go for the 38 watt RF tube, metal tube, that's $4,000. So this is $5,000. Oh, really? So that's only $1,000 more? Ooh, wow. Oh, that is so tempting. Oh, man. But the problem with this is that is huge. And that would have to be shipped to Korea. Oh, man, that would be nice. And it's only, that's amazing. It's only $1,000 more, and you would get a CO2 and an RF laser. So the Hydra 7 is an 80 watt. And okay, so here it is. Glass tube with 38 watt RF. So I'm sure that price is going to go up. What is it going to be? $7,000. So another 3,000, but you're getting the RF tube and the CO2. And if you get it, it's an 80 watt CO2. Holy crow. Wow. And the 100 watt, what would that come out to? Almost basically 9,000. I would have to do the Hydra 7 with the glass tube with the 38. I would do that. And of course you'd have to get the chiller, so you'd add that. So yeah, $7,000. And then with the chiller, that's another, so about $7,600. Ooh, that's kind of steep for me. That would be, but Lord, 3-year warranty, Wi-Fi, go big or go home. Oh, isn't that true? The controls, they're going to have a pass-through with a conveyor system. I just saw a post about this somewhere on Facebook, and of doing their pass-through and doing really big prints. Fume guard, 5 megapixel camera. I wish it was a higher resolution camera, but I'm not sure. Maybe 5 is good enough. Level, built-in level, sealed for safety, red dot enabled. Honeycomb is locked into place, which is an awesome thing. X-focus, motorized laser head. The only thing that kind of bothers me about a CO2 is that you would need a chiller. But we're looking at workspace is 700 by 500 for the workspace area. What is the engraving area? Machine weight. Z depth, all of that stuff. But oh yeah, that is very tempting. Is for that right there to have 2 laser systems. Of course, you'd have to get the chiller as well, but man, you would be able to do so much. So you'd have the best of both worlds. That would be incredible. So the Hydra 7 would be an 80 watt glass tube and the metal. Oh, wow. So you could do like 2 glass tubes if you wanted, I'm assuming, all the way up to 150. Wow, glass tube and then the 38 watt RF. Sure. Anyway, yeah. So if anyone wants to buy me a belated Christmas present, yeah, that Hydra 7. Oh, but that's some change. That's $7,500, and that's not even including shipping. And that would have to be shipped to Korea for me, so that would be huge. But So I'm going to have to settle for the one laser, and I'm checking with one laser right now to see if they'll be able to ship that to Korea. And because a new company, they have to get with Korea and whoever the officials are in Korea about, shipping products, and especially a class 1 laser system. I'm sure there's some regulations and hoops that they need to jump through, but that's what they're telling me. So I'm looking forward, keeping the fingers crossed for the one laser, the XRF, and we'll see what happens with that. If that doesn't come through, that's going to be the killer part there. Because now, let me pull up some, where am we at? Trying to come up with a laser comparison that we talked about when I did my previous video on different types of laser systems that I'm looking at. And I want to show you kind of what I'm looking at there. So here is the laser comparison that I was doing. We have the one laser, that's going to be in first place, the XRF with the 38 watt metal tube. X-Tool P2, that's $3,700. Monoport, basically I'm writing these off because it's I figure if I'm going to get into a hobby, I want to get a good quality laser. I want to get a good system. I don't want to buy an entry-level system or machine and then later on down the road say, you know what, I really wanted something better, and then I have to buy another machine. It's buy once, cry once. So that's basically what I'm looking. So if it's not the one laser, it could be the X-Tool P2 or the P2S, but there's so many good bells and whistles with the one laser. I really hope they'll be able to ship that over here to Korea. But it's just kind of crazy on some of these. And then the other one was the other system I was looking at was the Raleigh Lasermatic. Let's see if we take a look at that. If I can't get the one laser here in Korea, then the other one that I wanted to take a look at was this one here, the Raleigh Automation with the this one here, the Lasermatic XW with the larger workspace, the 24 by 15.3. That's the other one, and it's definitely a lot less expensive. But I'd really like to get that one laser. That so far would be the top one. There are some other brands out there, kind of like Thunder, the Thunderbolt laser. But I saw a comparison and looked at videos and watched videos and researched and looked between the Thunderbolts and the one laser, and I would definitely choose the one laser hands down. Granted, it's a new company, so just by looking at the specs and some of the videos and some of the reviews that we've seen so far, one laser seems to be the choice for me as it stands right now. I'll leave myself an out. But if for some reason they can't ship that, then I'll probably go with the laser, the Lasermatic MK2 XW, which is the extra wide, I guess. Extra wide, extra long, extra version, whatever it is. And looking at probably a 30 watt with a rotary chuck is going to be about $1,900 with some shipping. And then, of course, so it's got a camera as well. What is their camera? The work area, get projects done, blah, 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 air assist, which the one laser has as well. What is the camera? Spec comparison. It doesn't say what the camera is. Best of both worlds, projects done, work area. Setup. I wonder if it has it on one of its other Lasermatic. Let's just click this one and see if the regular, because I'm assuming the camera is going to be the same. 1020 or 30 watt configuration. Shipping, Lightburn camera compatible. Yeah, we know that, but what is the camera? What's the resolution of that? Focus works, it doesn't say. Huh, that is odd. Why doesn't it say that? Shipping, return, product support, replacement parts, maybe under replacement parts. So they got a good selection. Bottom shroud, stepper motor. Doesn't even have a camera replacement. Huh. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be looking at there. So anyway, yeah, I'm really hoping I can get the one laser for me here in Korea. And again, that kind of causes some problems. I can order stuff from Amazon and have it delivered to Korea, certain items. The problem is that there is a shipping, from what I've seen so far, I put in my Korean address and Amazon will say, yeah, yes, you can ship this item to Korea, or no, you're not allowed to do that. And for larger items, usually it says no. And One Laser doesn't do Amazon. So yeah, it'll have to be shipped probably like FedEx or DHL. I know they have DHL here and things like that, but I'll have to flip the bill for that shipping. So yeah, I really hope I get that. So anyway, yeah, that's what we got going on. Retired here in Korea. Steve, the retired hobby tech guy, enjoying Christmas here in Korea. We don't have snow. It's cold. It's like 27 degrees, and the high is going to be what today? I think it's going to be like 37. Oh, it went up to 42. Today's high is going to be 42. It's currently 28. So yeah, it's below freezing, but we don't have snow. It's not going to be a white Christmas. But I'm just going to be playing around and doing some more stuff like this, making more refrigerator magnets with my little 5-watt laser system. But if you know of a laser engraving system that has some good bells and whistles, that is a beyond entry level, kind of like a prosumer type of laser engraving cutting machine that I don't know about, put that in the comment section down below. I'd really like to take a look at different machines, make an educated guess before I pull the trigger. But right now it looks like it's going to be the One Laser, and hopefully they'll be able to send that out. Anyway, if you've got any ideas or have questions about how to do things in Lightburn, shoot me a PM or a message. You can find me on Facebook. You can also use my email address right down here. I usually answer that. So far, I haven't missed anybody's emails. Sometimes a little late in replying, but so far I have answered each and every person that has ever emailed me. And yeah, that's kind of cool. Whether it's on being an expat, being retired in Korea, or painting miniatures, or 3D resin printing, or now the new thing is the laser engraving. Yeah, that's all in there. Or if you just want to send me an email and say hi, I'd appreciate that as well. Other people who appreciate me have bought me coffees, and so there's that right there. Like these people here, they ended up sending me, by clicking the link in the description box, of sending me a coffee, which is cool. So they are on the awesome most respected list over here. And if you want to do that, I would appreciate that as well. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Just not much going on. Just going to chill out and enjoy the holidays, which is kind of interesting here in Korea. They're not as big with Christmas here in Korea. It's been getting bigger and bigger, but they're still going to have some restaurants open and things like that. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, maybe we'll go to the mall. We haven't been to the Korean mall on Christmas, so that'll be interesting to see how that works out. Usually I stay away from malls on Christmas Day and stuff like that, because usually they're closed in the United States, or the day after Christmas. It's crazy, with returns and everything. But, fights break out. But in Korea, yeah, that's not like a thing. Everybody's more respectful here in Korea. So I enjoy that. So that's going to be it for today. So thanks for watching. I hope I cleared up any miscommunication that I had in the previous video on how to cut out that multi-layered thing. And yeah, that's what we got going on. So with that, happy holidays. Hope you have a great new year. And of course, I'm going to post probably another video before the new year. So hopefully you'll subscribe and do all that cool stuff to stay abreast of what's going on here in Korea as being retired and playing around and lasering stuff and painting stuff and all that. Okay. I'm verklempt. So that's it. There's nothing else I can say. I'm just kind of babbling. So we'll leave it at that. All right. Peace. Not a week.